Do you know what? I literally just realized. I literally just realized you guys can't hear me, can you? I'm just talking away. Um. So yes, obviously now you guys can now hear me. As you can tell, I'm talking about Mr. Mesut Ozil, and I'm talking about the idea of him signing in 2013 and kind of never really realizing the hype. I always felt to myself with Mesut Ozil that, okay, we've signed someone from Real Madrid, 24 years old, someone who was going to be a big hype of a player, big deal of a player. Um, look at him. Look at him. Good looking bastard, Someone who kind of knew he was a big deal coming from Real Madrid. And I remember at the time there were all these stories. Look, I literally just said all this, by the way. I'm going to pretend like I haven't. I remember at the time, Ronaldo in particular was really pissed that, that he'd left Real Madrid. So I'm going to lie to you. At the time, I thought, okay, maybe at the time we've got ourselves a really decent player. I just thought to myself, okay, well, blimey, for us to get a player that Ronaldo's pissed has left the club, maybe we're about this life. And then he kind of came into the side, and as we know, against Sunderland, he started. I remember thinking he didn't play all that well against Sunderland. I think he started really well. He obviously laid on the assist for Mr. Giroud, some of you guys' favourites. But I remember thinking at the time, he's not like amazing. But then I thought to myself, all right, let me give the guy some slack. He played all right. He laid on a good assist for Giroud. One of the few runs he actually did make in that game. Remember, it was to the byline on the left-hand side. I think Wenger started him kind of wide left, which was a bit weird. It wasn't something that any of us were expecting. And he went to the byline and crossed for Giroud. It was one of the few times Giroud actually finished the opportunity that was given to him. So I think that everyone kind of thought to ourselves, all right, well, this is going to be a successful signing. And he's just one of these people who, for me, with my kind of feeling on Mesut Ozil, I think people kind of expect me to have a very hard-line view on Mesut Ozil. Obviously, I have a lot of friends in the podcast game, and quite frankly, outside of the podcast game, that have a very hard view on Mesut Ozil. Mine is no softer, really. But I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you think Mesut Ozil is the biggest disappointment of the football game? Based on the potential that everybody has this idea that he has the potential. People still argue today he has the potential. He's the only 32-year-old in the world where people will talk about potential. It's incredible. I saw a podcast very recently. Podcasts I quite like just because I like the energy that they bring. Sometimes I admit I talk a load of rubbish, but I like the energy they bring, right? And that's no shots to anyone. It's a good podcast. I won't mention the podcast in case they think it's a shot, but it's on every single week, and they have a particularly erratic Arsenal fan on that podcast. Like he's proper pro-Wenger. Like proper pro-Wenger, loves everything about him, has this real romanticized idea of Arsene Wenger and the way things should be and how things should, how things should be, and that type of thing, right? And even he talks about the fact that, are you telling me that Mesut Ozil can't create and can't help out in our current situation? And in my mind, I'm thinking, shit, I wish. Listen, I love my girl very much, but I wish I had a girl that defended me like this today. I mean, this is real ride or die stuff. Like this guy can appear all season, all for the rest of the season, not do a damn thing, and people are still defending him. I've never seen anything like it. I have never in my days seen anything like it. He is a very polarizing character. You either get it or you don't. I must confess, I don't. keep in mind, I'm a guy who, I'm not going to tell you that I loved the Mesut Ozil signing when he first started. I got excited through other people, but you will never ever see me sat here say, "Oh well, you know, when Mesut Ozil first came, I thought he was going to be amazing." I didn't. Not because I didn't know anything about. The things that people were telling me, I was just like, all right. Do you know what I mean? I was never really gassed. I was never really enamored. I was never really like, oh, okay, well, he's going to be about something. He's going to do really well. He's going to pull up trees. He's going to do this. In my mind, my attitude was always the same. Okay, let's see what happens. And he started well. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to bring up what his first season stats were like for Arsenal. But I remember not being particularly blown away by them. Let me just double check. Mesut Ozil season stats. What was it? So he signed 2013. So 2013 to 2014. Telemarket. It's probably the best place for that. That's probably the best place for that, isn't it? And I remember, so what did he get? Okay, no, that was La Liga. Excuse me. Yeah, he signed 2013, and he ended up scoring how many? Okay, I thought this thing would give me a much simpler answer than it's given me. But I think it's telling me 7 goals, 14 assists in 42 appearances. So, but keep in mind, has it counted? No, it hasn't counted anything from La Liga. So yeah, so 7 goals, 14 appearances in all competitions. He got 1 goal in the FA Cup, 2 assists in the FA Cup, 5 Premier League goals, 10 Premier League assists, 1 Champions League. Yeah, once upon a time we did play in the Champions League. 1 Champions League goal, 2 Champions League assists. So you probably sat there thinking, oh, Chig, you're a bit harsh. That's not the worst, is it? 7 goals and 14 assists. Well, keep in mind that a lot of you are writing off Pepe, and he scored more goals. Admittedly, had less assists, but he scored more goals. But then I thought to myself, all right, cool. Okay, well, first season, maybe that's not too bad. That's not too bad, right? Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Let's move on to the next season. I've never done this before, so I figured let me do this with you guys and analyze this season by season. Have I completely underestimated Mesut Ozil's value to the Arsenal team over the years? So we move on to the next season. He's played a lot less games. He played 32 times across all competitions in the 2014 to 2015 season. He scored less goals, 5 goals, 9 assists. But again, the Mesut Ozil hardcore said, "No, don't you worry. We just didn't have the team around him." And he suffered a couple of really bad injuries. He had that key knee ligament injury. I remember that injury that kept him out for a little while. So you had lots of people again defending him and promising that you're going to get the best Mesut Ozil possible. And in my mind, I'm like, at this point, I've not yet tapped out on him. I'll be honest, I'm not yet tapped out on him. I'll be lying if I said I had. Right? But I still, at this point, I didn't get it. I didn't get what the big deal was. But then I kind of thought to myself, all right, well, maybe an injury. I usually give players 2 seasons to prove themselves. Let's see what happens in the following season. So I know people are going to really tune in because I think the following season was his banger season, wasn't it? So let me tune into the 2015-2016 season and see what happened in that season. That was his banger year. That was the real banger year where he got in all competitions. Keep in mind, in all competitions, he got in 45 appearances. He scored 8 goals and 20 assists, which include, I think it was a record equaling 19 assists in the Premier League, with the additional assist coming in the FA Cup. And I'm not going to lie to you, at that point, I was like, okay, Imagine if we had that Mesut Ozil bold for his Arsenal career. We'd be talking about an Arsenal legend. We'd be talking about an Arsenal legend. If we had had that Mesut Ozil throughout the rest of his Arsenal career, forget what happened before, throughout the rest of his Arsenal career, we'd be 100% talking about an Arsenal legend here. Because one of the questions people are banning about is he an Arsenal legend? No. But for me, he's probably Arsenal's greatest wasted talent. Through application, through what I'm sure is club politics. But for me, he is someone who should have been up here. I mean, for everybody. And for whatever reason, people just don't see him that way. Not everybody. There are some that will always see him that way. You know, the best way I can describe Mesut Ozil is the rose-tinted goggle glasses. You know, I don't know. Let's be real here. I don't know if you girls have done this. I'm speaking as a guy from a guy's point of view, right? You go out to a nightclub and there's a girl who, let's be real here, and I'm just speaking as honestly as possible. Even my girl won't mind me saying this. I've told her my exploits before. So straight up, she will know this, right? You'll go to a club and straight up that you strategize. You strategize nice and early. You say to yourself, all right, cool, there's a girl that I'm probably going to target towards the end of the night if things don't go well. She ain't that good. She ain't that nice. But you figure to yourself, okay, cool, I'll come back to that if nothing else pops off. Meanwhile, there's the real girl that you want to go for. You know, boobs around, bum is looking fat, like pow. You think to yourself, all right, cool, that's the one I really want. Song comes over, you start dancing nearby, you start making eye contact, you start cracking joke. My move, straight up, my boy will know this straight up. I'll always give my boy my phone. I'll take my phone out and then I'll say something like on the lines of, oh, do you and your girls want to take a picture? You do that, crack the ice, take the picture of the girls in a group. Then you make some sort of bar or excuse and say, oh, well, what about a picture of me and you together? So then you get, my boy will come, we'll take a picture of us. Straight up, this is just how you break the ice, right? Then you're talking and you're talking and talking. Oh, you know, we've got a hotel room around here. Go back to the hotel room. You do what you do. You wake up and you realize the chick that you moved to weren't quite as nice as the one you thought that you were moving to initially. Rose-tinted color glasses. Most people have the ability to take those glasses off in the morning. You know, whether you're doing a walk of shame, whether you just want to slip out of there. I'm not proud of none of this stuff. I'm just being real with you guys. And, you know, you slip out of there, think to yourself, whew, thank God she don't have my number. And you get up out of there. Straight up. But there's some people that can't bear to take those rose-tinted glasses off. There are some people that will always see Mesut Ozil in the 2015-2016 rose-tinted color glasses. He will always be that guy to them. He will always be the superstar. He will always be the assist master, the best number 10 in the world. The one that where everything goes through him. He will always be that guy. The I stand with Ozils, yes. There will always be people with that. But interestingly enough, for me, I'm more about the fact that actually I judge people on a season-by-season basis, just like anyone else. And I thought Mesut Ozil that season was fantastic. And maybe I'll hold my hands up as someone who's a bit of a detractor of his, doesn't say that enough. In that season, specifically that season, he was fantastic. You know, whether you rate assists or not, you can't deny that was the one time this boy stepped up and said, all right, I'm one of the leaders in this team. And sure, you know, people will look towards Drew not helping him smash that record, even though I think Drew only had 2 chances to help him smash that record. People will look towards other avenues as to why Mesut Ozil never became the record assister or the record assistant for the Premier League. But the facts remain that those are some numbers he put up. And I think all of us at that point, I don't care if you were the biggest Mesut Ozil detractor, all of us were like, okay, where do we go from here? So what did you think he followed up with in the following year? Did Mesut Ozil crack his own assist system? Did he go beyond what was expected of him? Did he become the superstar that we hoped he would? Well, let's look at that season. So this season was his season where the contract was coming up, I believe. His contract was coming up, and I'm about to find out what those numbers were. So he obviously played a lot of games the season before, and I'm sure through that he was expecting a big contract the following year. And in that year, he played the same amount of games that he played the year before, scored 12 goals, set up 14 assists, and was waiting for a new deal. Now, I remember thinking to myself at the time, do you know what? I wouldn't mind if Mesut Ozil leaves, you know. Because I could already see it. I didn't think he would be a better player. I didn't think he was someone who I could see improving and working harder and understanding his game more and wanting to understand his game more in order to improve. I never saw that in Mesut Ozil. Instead, I saw someone who actually would only regress and get worse. That this was the best we were going to see out of Mesut Ozil. You know, contract time came about and he played the club beautifully. I mean, if Ramsey thought he could play Arsenal, he needed to take some serious lessons from Mesut Ozil. He saw an opportunity. He saw that, well, the club can't surely let Alexis Sanchez go and Mesut Ozil go in the same summer. How would that look? That would just be a PR disaster. And being the PR master that he is, all he decided to do was outweigh Alexis. Once Alexis made his move to go United, he saw an opportunity, signed that opportunity, and became the highest paid player for the next 5 years. Genius, really. Sorry, for the next 4 years. Because Aubameyang signed his deal this year, didn't he? So for the next 4 years. Genius. We gave him $350 a week because people thought that we were getting a better player. And in my mind, when I heard that he signed, I thought, okay, good. Well, we've signed a good player. We've shown that we can hold on to our best players. I was never pleased about the fact that Mesut Ozil was staying. I think the thing I was more happy about was that we weren't losing both of them. Had I had a choice, I would have liked to have kept Alexis. Having said that, if you watch my videos around that time, I thought Alexis was on the decline as well. And I was right. So for me, I was more kind of thinking to myself, all right, well, if it's Mesut Ozil, hopefully he'll continue to improve and produce numbers. And maybe we need to, give him the sort of players that can help that. And then we started signing people. We started signing a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We started signing an Alexandre Lacazette, which regardless of what Lacazette's numbers are now, these were 2 players that we were linked with for a long time before they came to the club. Two players who you forget your Olivier Giroud. These are two players who, if Mesut Ozil can't break the Premier League assist record with, then maybe he weren't that good to begin with. I remember people saying bars like that. So I said, okay, cool. How did he follow up the following year? Let's find out. Surely he'd be able to be better. Surely. In Wenger's last year, was it his last year that year? That he'd be able to produce better. Let's find out. Well, not really. See, he played a little bit less games. And I admit it was a little bit less games. He got 5 goals. I was just thinking, okay. But he still did bag 14 assists. See, the thing is, you could see that he clearly relaxed from the season before, where he needed to prove himself. But at the same time, you could see that maybe he was on the decline. And maybe we weren't going to get everything, a bang for our buck. But then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe Mesut Ozil will turn the tide even further. Maybe if we look at the following year, he would get even better and break some of those records. Because after all, he's still in double figures for assists. So maybe we're all wrong. And we're all judging him wrong. We're all judging him yeah. In the 2018-2019 season, in 35 appearances, Mesut Ozil got 6 goals and 3 assists. The very first time in his Arsenal career that Mesut Ozil actually scored more goals than assists. Except the only thing is, he only scored 6 goals. And that was where you felt that the Mesut Ozil car, so to speak, the wheels had come right off. In the following season, 2019 to 2020, which was last year, where he did have a year in which he was in and out of the team through Emre and through Arteta. What did Mesut Ozil get in terms of stats? Just the one solely goal with 3 assists in all competitions in 23 appearances. The Mesut Ozil story of numbers tell you this, that for me, he's one of the best and worst frustrations in the Arsenal journey. Someone who should have been, if not the top dog, one of the top dogs. Someone who we should have been looking upon him as an Arsenal legend. And maybe there are some of you who actually do. I don't know who those people would be, but maybe there is some of you that still look at him as an Arsenal legend, as someone who will always be the guy, no matter what I say, no matter what anybody says, he'll be that Arsenal legend. There are some people who will look at him as one of the most famous Fortnite players in the world. But those are the mean-spirited people, right? For me, he's one of Arsenal's, if not Arsenal's most greatest wasted talents. Someone who should have been everything to us at a time when we needed him the most, and will always go down as someone who wanted to be anything but a real Arsenal player, an Arsenal legend. Isn't that a damn shame? See, I didn't really know where I was going to go with this story. I knew that I was going to do something. I was going to say something because I knew that people had been asking me while I've been dealing with this chest infection of mine. Like, what do you think about this Mesut Ozil thing? And I've always said the same thing. You know why I'm not really vocal with the Mesut Ozil thing? Because I kind of foresaw his journey. I kind of knew why I wasn't excited. There's a reason why I'm excited about the Thomas Partey signing versus why I wasn't excited about the Mesut Ozil signing. I knew what we're getting. I know what we're getting with Partey. I know that that's a boy who will improve, will apply himself, and will be devastating as a team. And actually, more than anything, all of that shit aside, I know that he'll work hard to improve himself. With Mesut Ozil, I never saw a player who I felt would work hard. I always saw someone who was timid, someone who maybe believed in his own gas, someone who, in his own mind, I think thought was a legend. And whether you look at past mistakes like, his comments regarding China, or, his conduct around, politically, I'm not going to get into that because I don't know enough about all that stuff. Actually, on the field, none of that shit would have mattered had he applied himself on the field. So that's why, for me, I shed no tear for him. After all, the guy's getting paid handsomely. I shed no tear for him that he didn't make the Europa League squad. Would I have admitted him? No. As much as I don't rate him, if we were going to keep him, I'd make him work for his money. So if the next question for you is, Chig, would you have admitted him? No, I wouldn't have. I would have wanted him to play. Flip. If you're going to be here holding us up for your last year contract, your bunk ass better play. But Arsenal have clearly taken a very interesting stance with him. I'm not going to start quoting Mikel Arteta's press conference with him, but if there's one thing that comes across in every single press conference that Mikel Arteta has, he does not like talking about Mesut Ozil. In my personal opinion, do I think this is a Mikel Arteta decision, or do I think this is an Arsenal decision? I do think this is a bit of both. I do. I think it's very much led by the board. I think the board have said to him, listen, ideally, we'd like to get Mesut out 6 months sooner than possible. It would help out the books a lot. But if you find that you really need him, obviously you need some creative spark. And apparently Mesut Ozil is a creative spark. So if you need him, then we'll back you. But this is what we need. Mikel Arteta, at the end of the day, yes, he's a manager now, but this is his first job. Why is he going to rock the boat? But I also think that he had a good opportunity to look at Mesut Ozil before lockdown. And every preconceived idea that he had about Mesut Ozil, keep in mind, this is a manager who's played with Mesut Ozil at Arsenal. You saw the numbers I put up. So if you are Mikel Arteta coming into the club, listen, I'm not a huge fan of his, but I can understand the logic of coming into a club and saying to yourself, all right, cool. Well, the last time I was here, Mesut Ozil was doing something. Maybe me and him are boys. I can get that out of him. I can understand that logic. I could definitely understand that logic. But he probably had a look at him and thought to himself, ratted. I'd rather one of the kids. At least they'd try. And yeah, I saw Mesut Ozil's comments today. He obviously, for the very first time, really broke his silence on this whole situation, talking about the fact that he loves the club. He's shown commitment by signing on for as long as he did, when he could have left, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, all right, great. That's all well and good, Mesut. Me personally, if I saw, as much as I love Arsenal, if I was in a dream scenario where I signed for Arsenal Football Club and then for whatever reason, towards the end of my career, it turned out that Arsenal Football Club didn't want me, I'd go. What am I still there for? What am I still there for? If it became apparent to me that they regretted, I'd go. Here's the thing that I know somebody's going to say, oh, well, he doesn't have to go because he's under contract. Yeah, that's cool. That argument goes to pot when you hear that the club have made numerous attempts to buy out his contract. So now you're just doing it out of spite. Because they basically said, you're not going to lose no money, but we need you to leave the club. Now, if we're going to start getting into discussions about if this is fair treatment, if this is particularly nice treatment, if this is this, is this, is that, I'll be honest with you, it's not particularly nice to watch as an Arsenal fan now. One of your Arsenal players is going through this. But at the same time, business ain't nice. I know people don't like hearing the fact that football and business are the same thing. It's business. And if you don't want to leave, at some point the club needs to say, all right, fuck this. I'm going to paint you into a position where you have no choice but to go. And if that means publicly shaming you, all right, we're going to take a hit. In a year's time, people will forget your name. People will forget this situation even happened. That is just the way football fans are. Got news for you. I've got news for you. When Mesut Ozil finally leaves this club, finally leaves, whether it's January, because I hear he's being linked with a MLS move. If I'm Mesut, jump at that shit. Fuck me. Get some sort of dignity. Jump at that. So if it's January, go. If it's January, go. Or if it's the end of next year and you finally take up your stuff and you leave and you go to wherever it is you go, for me, all Arsenal needs to do is sign someone major. In a year's time, they forget this is even happening. There'll be somebody, because I know there's a lot of these big Arsenal accounts do this, just almost to trigger people. There'll be some idiot like that will bring up something on Arsenal Twitter and will say, oh, was Mesut Ozil that bad for us? Or was he any less rated than X player? There'll always be that type of person that will want that attention and that will get it successfully. But the bottom fact is that Arsenal fans are very fickle. You see it daily. You see it at the moment. Do you remember when I first started this whole YouTube thing, the ferocity and the aggression towards Arsene Wenger, it was palpable. It was uncomfortable. Now, 75% of those people, oh, well, I think I was a bit harsh on Arsene Wenger. I saw one particular geezer, right? I've done shows with this person before. You guys feel free to work it out amongst yourselves. I've done shows with this person before. Somebody brought this to my attention because I have them blocked, right? I've done shows with this person before, and this person, mind you, I've wanted Wenger out since 2015 when he only bought a check, because that's what cost us the title that season, right? But you've never ever seen me call Arsene Wenger, see you next Tuesday. You've never ever seen me do none of that stuff. I've had lots of frustrations with this man. You've never seen me do any of that stuff. This particular person has, right? I mean, they have been ultra aggressive, right? I saw one of their tweets the other day and this person who brought it up to my attention just started laughing. I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to comment. But it's because it's indicative of what's happening at the moment. Oh, well, now that I look back on Arsene Wenger's career, it wasn't that bad. I just had a lot of frustrations with the fact that he wouldn't leave in the end, but actually he will always be a legend. I just laughed. I laughed because that's what it is. Arsenal fans are fickle. They think one thing one time, something will happen. It will change their mind. You know, people look at the Unai Emery thing, for example, as a situation that was not successful, and I agree, it wasn't successful. Someone who's more popular with a bit of better PR plays in the exact same way, and it would be looked upon as a success, and they need to be given time. That is just football fans. I won't go as far as to say it's Arsenal fans. It's football fans. So as much as this Mesut Ozil thing is a hot topic, the reason why I was never in a hurry, if you notice, I never did a video when he was left out of the Europa League because I figured he'd be left out of the Premier League. I figured, all right, well, if you're going to do one, you might as well do the other. So that's why I never did a video on that. I figured I'd do an all-encompassing video once it was confirmed he was out of the Premier League squad. Now that he's out of the Premier League squad, for me, that's it for Mesut. What's going to happen in February? All right, a couple more people will leave, no doubt. But I'll be surprised if he's suddenly given a Premier League spot with 6 months to go. So, for me, with Mesut Ozil, I think he's, honestly, Arsenal's greatest wasted talent. For what he could have been, what he should have been, what he started to become, and then almost just gave up on football, on application, commitment. Maybe it was politics as well. I have no doubt about it. I don't trust this board. I have no doubt about it. But it's a shame. When you look back on it, it's a real shame that happened. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's my little rant and 2 cents about the Mesut Ozil situation over. I wanted to thank DJ Crane. I did see that you renewed your membership. Thank you, my brother. I also did get a donation in my last member stream, and I've forgotten the name of that geezer now. Said I was going to shout him out. I did catch that, but it was right at the end. So apologies for that. Carter and oh my gosh, Carter and Daniel. Gosh, I completely forgot his name. won the books for Arsene Wenger's autobiography. That will be sent over to him, to them, by the end of this week. So they should receive that. More and more giveaways will be done very, very shortly. I'll be doing a number member stream on Sunday. I'll be doing a preview, I think, tomorrow afternoon. The reason this took so long, quite honestly, is because of StreamYard. I was supposed to do this at like 11. And StreamYard, I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping I'll be able to end the stream because I did see Lee going through some shit. So I'm hoping I'll be able to end the stream. So I don't know. StreamYard, I don't normally play up like this. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to end the stream. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about Mesut Ozil. And listen, I get it. It is not a hot topic. I totally get it. Whenever you bring up Mesut Ozil in any video, look at the likes and dislikes. It is a very polarizing subject. It is a subject that will bring out the most aggressive Mesut Ozil fans you will ever see. Because for whatever reason, you know, JJ Okocha is my favorite football player in the world. I feel like I have the ability, if I felt like he played horribly or there was some criticism, I think I have the ability to not get emotional about it. But there are some that just do, for whatever reason. But what I would always ask people is just to be respectful. Have the debate. And then if you don't agree, tell me why. That's all. It's not that serious. But anyway, I will leave you guys to it. Please enjoy your evening. I'll be back again tomorrow. At the very least, I'm hoping that StreamYard will work long enough for me to do a watch along with Lee tomorrow, and then obviously back on to do a review with Lee as well. But anyway, I am out of here, guys. Enjoy your Thursday. Take care. And peace.